The silence of the returning hunters is heavier than any scream. They carry Kael between them, his leg a ruin of splintered bone and torn muscle. He makes no sound, his face a waxy, grey mask of shock. Alani, the clan's leader, meets them at the edge of the camp. She looks not at Kael's wound, but at the object they carry alongside him, the shattered remnants of his spear. The U-shaft is snapped, and the fine, leaf-shaped flint point is broken, a testament to the futility of their methods. It is the third hunter to be grievously wounded in as many moons, the third spear to be broken against the same unreachable defense. The brutal reality of their situation is the valley itself. It is a green paradise lush with forage, but it is a prison. The great herds of Pachyrhinosaurus have claimed it. They are not predators, a moving wall of horn and bone. They graze in a tight, defensive formation, their massive, bony bosses facing outward, their young protected in the center. A single adult is a challenge. The herd is an impossibility. To charge them is to charge a mountain that charges back. This slow, grinding failure is a war of attrition, and the clan is losing. The hunters are brave, the women are resilient, but bravery cannot fill an empty stomach, and resilience cannot mend a shattered femur. Alani watches as Rina, the old healer, is called to Kael's side. The clan gathers, their faces etched with a familiar mixture of pity and fear. They see Kael, but they also see their own future. The children are too quiet. That should be in their eyes has been replaced by a dull, constant hunger. The laughter that once echoed through the camp is a ghost. They are a people besieged by plenty, starving in the shadow of a feast they cannot claim. This is a unique kind of suffering, to see salvation grazing just beyond the reach of your broken spears. She observes the aftermath, the familiar ritual of failure. Kael, the master toolmaker, takes the pieces of the broken spear. He does not curse. He examines the fracture in the flint with an obsessive focus, his brow furrowed. He sees the failure not in the hunter, but in the stone itself, in the angle of the strike. He is a mind obsessed with the perfection of a single object. Near the fire, Finn, the peerless tracker, is not looking at the wounded man, his fingers tracing patterns in the dust, recreating the chaotic hoofprints and the dragging signs of the failed hunt. He reads the story of the herd's movement, their panic and their defense, seeing a language that is invisible to the others. And then there is Zor. He is a strange, quiet man who rarely speaks. He sits apart, his gaze fixed on the distant hills that form the valley's walls. He is not watching the herd. He is watching the land itself, the narrow ravines, the rockslides, the stands of thick forest. His mind is always moving, seeing paths and traps where others see only rock and tree. Rina works over Kael, her hands moving with a learned certainty, crushing leaves for a poultice, her knowledge a library of silent green life. Alani sees them all, the toolmaker, the healer, the trekker, the striking in isolation. Kael will make a sharper spear. Rina will mend the wounds. Finn will find the herd. Zor will watch the hills. And they will fail again. The hard choice solidifies in Alani's mind. Their tradition, where every man is a hunter and every hunter is the same, is leading them to extinction. Strength is not enough. They are a fist, battering itself bloody against a wall. They need to become something else. That evening, Alani does not call a council of hunters. She calls a council of minds. She summons the four to her fire: Kael, Finn, Rina, and Zor. The other hunters watch from a distance, their expressions a mixture of confusion and contempt. A toolmaker, a tracker, a healer, and a silent watcher. It is a council of the overlooked, the specialists whose skills have always been valued but never seen as the core of the clan's strength. It has always been the domain of the strongest hunters, the men with the thickest arms and the loudest voices. The old way is failing, Alani says, her voice slow and clear, cutting through the crackle of the fire. She looks at each of them in turn, her gaze locking with theirs. Our fist is broken against the wall of horns. We keep striking the same way, and we keep breaking. Kael is the price. The hunger of our children is the price. She picks up a single, straight stick from the ground. This is one hunter. It is strong, but it can be snapped. Then she gathers for more sticks, all of different shapes and sizes, and holds them together in her hand. But this is different. It is stronger. She points the bundle at Kael. You see the spear. You know why the stone breaks. Kael nods, his hands moving as if he is already shaping a new point. We strike the boss, the shield on its face. The shock shatters the flint. We need a different spear. Longer. Heavier. A punch, not a cut. Aloni turns to Finn. You see the herd. You know their paths. Finn's eyes are distant, already out in the valley. They have a rhythm. They graze into the wind. At dusk, they move to the low ground where the water settles. There is a moment, just as the light fails, when they are blindest. She looks at Zor, the silent strategist. And you see the land. For the first time, Zor speaks, his voice a dry rasp from disuse. He points not to the valley floor, but to the scree slope on the far side. There, the rocks are loose. A great weight or a great noise. His sentence trails off, but the implication hangs in the air. Finally, she looks at Rina. And you, old mother, you see the aftermath. You know the price of failure. Rina's gaze is steady. A horn is not a claw. It makes a clean wound, but a deep one. If we are ready, if the poultice is freshened, the bindings are strong, a man can be saved. This is the birth of the division of labor, not as a matter of convenience, but as a deliberate strategy for survival. It is a profound intellectual leap, the understanding that different minds, focused on different facets of a single problem, can achieve what a mob of like-minded individuals cannot. It is the kind of thinking that defines the ascent of Homo sapiens. Alonis Gam, it is to weave these four separate threads of knowledge into a single, unbreakable rope. You four, Aloni commands, her voice ringing with an authority that silences the murmurs from the rest of the clan. You will not be for hands anymore. You will be one mind. Kael will make the spear. Finn will choose the time and the place. Zor will shape the battlefield. Rina will prepare for the blood. You will bring me a plan to kill one of the horned beasts, or we will all follow Terake into the long silence. It is an emotional turning point, a radical shift in their social structure. The clan, steeped in the tradition of the heroic, solitary hunter, now places its fate in the hands of a committee. The next 3 days are a hive of focused activity, a stark contrast to the despair that had gripped the camp. Kael does not just sharpen stones, he re-engineers a weapon. He and his apprentices craft 6 massive new spears, almost too heavy to carry. The points are not flat, but thick and triangular, designed to split and penetrate rather than slice. This is not just tool-making, it is the application of theory, a new form of primitive technology. Rina does not wait for the wounded, her corner of the camp becoming a center for healing. She grinds herbs, tears hides into clean strips for bindings, and instructs to young women on how to apply a tourniquet. It is the clan's first field hospital. Zio and Finn are gone for hours at a time, their quiet collaboration a study in contrasts. Finn, the tracker, reads the present, the story written in the dirt. Zio, the strategist, reads the future, the possibilities written in the landscape. They return not with a hunting spot, but with a kill zone, a narrow ravine where the herd passes at dusk. Above it, a steep slope of loose scree hangs like a loaded spring. The plan they present to Aloni is complex, layered, and terrifying. It relies on timing, on trust, and on every part of their new machine working in perfect harmony. The strongest hunters, the ones who once scoffed at the council of specialists, now listen with a quiet, focused intensity. Their respect has been earned not by words, but by the undeniable logic of the plan. They are no longer just a hunting party. They are a weapon, forged undamed by the 4 hands. At dusk they move. The operation is silent, almost ghostly. A team of young, fast runners, their bodies painted with mud for camouflage, follows CO to the top of the scree slope. They carry large logs, not as weapons but as levers. The main hunting party, armed with Kael's heavy new spears, takes up a position in the ravine, hidden amongst the rocks. Alani is with them, her presence a silent testament to her faith in the plan. As Finn predicted, the herd moves into the ravine as the light begins to fail. The air grows thick with the smell of dust and warm animal bodies. The ground trembles. From his vantage point, Zio waits until the largest bull, a titan of the herd, is directly below the slope. He gives a single, sharp bird call. Above, the runners heave their logs against the largest boulders. The scree slope gives way with a low, gunning groan, then a deafening roar. A river of rock and earth thunders down into the ravine. It is controlled chaos. The avalanche does not hit the herd directly but crashes down just behind them, cutting off their retreat and creating a wall of dust and terror. The Pachyrhinosaurus panic, their defensive formation shattering. They surge forward, deeper into the ravine, exactly as Zio planned, and they run straight into the waiting spears. It is not a charge, it is not due to the waiting spears into the one. They brace themselves, planting the butts of their heavy spears into the earth, and meet the stampede with a wall of sharpened stone. A young bull, blinded by dust, impales itself on a spear. A hunter screams as he is thrown aside by the beast's momentum, his arm bent at an unnatural angle, but Rina's apprentices are there. They drag him back, an act of battlefield altruism born of planning, and immediately go to work on his arm. The hunters give ground, reform, and strike again. Alani herself drives one of Kael's spears deep into the flank of a confused female. The beast stumbles, bellows, and goes down. The hunters are brutal, efficient, and overwhelming success. They have not just killed a monster, they have dissected a god. They drag the carcasses back to the camp, a bounty of meat and bone that banishes the shadow of starvation. The victory is not celebrated with wild, chaotic roars, but with a deep, quiet satisfaction. They have faced an insurmountable problem and have overcome it not with greater strength, but with a superior mind. The Council of Hands is no longer an experiment, it is the new foundation of their social structure. The tracker, the toolmaker, the strategist, and the healer are now revered, their skills understood as vital organs of a single functioning body. Alani has not just led a hunt, she has engineered a society. She has proven that the most powerful tool a human can possess is another human, and that the greatest strength comes from acknowledging and empowering the unique talents of the individual for the good of the community. This is the moment they stopped being a mob, thrashing blindly against the dangers of their world, and became a team, a thinking, adaptable organism poised to inherit the future. This is the blueprint for civilization, the simple, revolutionary idea that we are stronger together not when we are all the same, but when we celebrate the differences that make us a whole. And on a distant ice-scoured plain, a lone hunter watches a herd of mammoths, not with a spear in his hand, but with a new dangerous idea in his mind.